out. I don't think we're going to have a hearing on the governor's Jobs and Transportation Act until probably until March, I would guess. And behind the scenes, everybody's working on this. You know, how big is it going to be? Is it going to have all the elements that the governor has proposed? And for transit, on the transit side, there's, I'd say, three main pieces in that bill that we're focused on. That's the cigarette tax increase for elderly and disabled transportation, the payroll tax acceleration. The governor's recommending that the payroll tax authorization that was passed in 2003 be accelerated to the currently, and then build additional capacity into the future to go to 0.8%, using some of the same requirements that we had in place in 2003. And then lastly, the governor's recommending that ODOT actually flex or use additional federal transportation dollars on transit. They have the capacity to do that, probably to the tune of another $44 million, but both on transit as well as other alternative modes. So that's our focus right now. We're doing some orientations. We've had Fred down already once to speak to the House Sustainability Committee on what TriMet's doing on energy and environment and sustainability. We'll have Fred down again when it comes time to do an orientation for the House and Senate Transportation Committees on transit. They're looking forward to hearing from us. We have on the House Transportation Committee, there are 4 members from the metropolitan area, which is great for us. So we expect to be down there a lot. We don't go down every single day, but we have our finger on the pulse of Salem. So unless you have any questions, that's all I had prepared to say. Unless, Fred, you want me to talk about anything else?
One question. Yeah, Olivia. Yeah, you guys do a great job down there. This stimulus funds that are coming from the feds, and you read about it, I don't know what the accuracy to it is, but we're supposed to get $2.8 billion out of the stimulus package that is passing. The state has been earmarked for 2.8 billion. Will that offset some of that $700 million loss they're talking about? And, you know, I mean, I can understand the excitement on it, but if we got this money earmarked for us.
Well, they're hoping, and I think Fred talked a little bit about the problem with some of the funds that are coming. Could be more capital as opposed to operating, but they're going to go through the same process that we're going through, both on the health and human services side, if there are resources there, or education. So there's a potential for that. I know they're looking at it.
Yeah. We've had those discussions with them too, and with the governor on the whole thing. But thank you.
Say, you know, I might be kind of naive, but I look at this and they're trying to increase the gas tax, registration and title fees, and first-time title fees on vehicles new to the state. As car dealerships and everything is going out of business, and less people are driving less, so they're trying to conserve on using gas. I'm trying to see how you balance all these things. You know, I mean, you know, and then people are losing their jobs. So, you know, you're adding more on the general public as you try and save the state, which is not, you know.
Well, that's exactly what they're wrestling with, and that's why they haven't rolled the bill out. They're behind the scenes, the legislative leadership and different groups are trying to assess what is achievable here. You know, can we move forward with this package as it's written, or is there something else that we should do? At the same time, wanting to have a balanced package, so it's not just all on the roadside. There's alternative modes, including transit, and also they're factoring in what can survive a referral. If this goes to the voters, what kind of a package will the voters be willing to accept? And we saw what happened in Washington State. We know it has to be a very balanced package to survive a vote. So those are the kinds of things that they're thinking about right now before they roll anything out.
And trying to get more money from ODOT for transit versus roads and bridges. How hard is that going to be?
Well, I think that's, if you don't increase the pie, the overall pie, then I think that'll be more difficult.
Yeah, the concept on that one, I think, really is that on the road side, just because of the nature of the Oregon Constitution, there are more levers that you can use to be able to raise money on the road side. we could not use, for example, any of the proposed increases on titling, new titling, or all that sort of thing, has to be on the roadside. So the concept, I think, had been that you could, by using those levers on the roadside, assuming they pass, that then taking more of the flexible federal dollars and putting it into the alternative modes is the way to balance that. But if there's no additional money here, and as Lydia said, you're redividing the pie, that would be a tough sell. Why don't you just mention clearly that the stimulus package that the state had did not have anything?
Oh, no, there's nothing there for transportation. It's all focused on state facilities, higher ed facilities, repair.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to introduce the next issue, if I may, just a moment, because I think this is always the hard piece. You know, we're just spent 45 minutes or longer talking about essentially the dire economic conditions and what we're doing, and yet we're also talking about, you know, a new bridge, and how does this kind of come together? And you know, the answer is that two things. One is that you have to be able to plan for the future. I mean, anybody, and those of you in your own worlds know that very well. You can't look at it and just say, you know, it's terrible today, therefore I got to stop doing anything. You have to be able to plan. And for us, one of the things that Olivia didn't explicitly mention, but would be there, the proposal by the governor to be able to address the payroll tax, if that additional, whenever it might come, that going up to 8 tenths, whenever that would come, because it would have to be done after the economy's recovered and all, you can't do any additional expansions of the light rail system past what we are currently under plan to do, that is the Milwaukee alignment. If you're talking about going down Barber Boulevard to Tigard, if you're talking about going over the Columbia River to Vancouver, we don't have, even with the economy coming back, we don't have the revenue to be able to show that operating capacity. And so that's part of the reason why it's so important to plan for the future. The bridge is a part of that. I mean, here's something that's kind of exciting. Obviously, its issue is very important to win-build for the jobs it will create, and obviously for the additional transit. But with that, I want to try to put it in perspective. Why are we talking about new things when we're talking about cutting existing things? And that's always a hard story.
Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, very good. I'd like to introduce Sean Batty, once again, our Corridor Design Manager. Just to note that we do have, if you will, long in the process with the Federal Transit Administration, already 18 months to 2 years of work. And we're on the cusp of the FTA approving preliminary engineering for the Milwaukee project. I expect that will happen in March. You've occasionally seen in your agendas over the last month and again in February contracts for preliminary engineering services. So engineers need to work too. So there's a lot of excitement about that. One of the key milestones that we reached last week was a formative meeting of our Willamette River Bridge Advisory Committee, which is chaired by former Mayor Vera Katz and has a number of other property owners as well as design professionals on it. And very unanimously came to a recommendation for us in terms of the bridge stack to move forward. So I wanted Sean to just very quickly walk through the process where we've been and the result that we're at right now.
Thank you, Neil. We did intend to give this as a PowerPoint, so I apologize. I will try and say next slide so we can all turn to be looking at the same materials. The last time I presented in early fall, we were about midway through the bridge type study process, and we're at a point where we were considering, on the first slide, 5 fundamental bridge types. That was in November. We did technical work and with the deliberations of the RBAC, the advisory committee Neil mentioned. The tied arch options were both eliminated fundamentally due to concerns over environmental issues related to having 4 in-water piers. And as a side note, there was not a sense that either of those types were going to be a bargain financially to offset that implication of environmental. If you go to the next slide, that takes us to December, where we looked at really 2 types, a wave-frame girder, a very innovative, unique bridge, and then 2 flavors or variations of a cable supporter cable-stayed bridge. In December, the RBAC tasked staff with coming back with 2 fundamental pieces of information. One was about all the bridges, but focused on the wave, and that was, what is the likely cost of each of these alternatives?